juniors. Very exciting. So we will start with the school's Calypso competition, which is on the 6th of June. On the afternoon of the 6th, we will hold our very first school's soca competition, and we're very, very excited about this one. On Saturday the 7th, we will see the school's Pan Festival. And of course, we have the Junior Parade of Bands on the 13th of July. But before we get to all of that, we have the school store, which last year was our first year, and it was well received by the schools. So we're doing it again, and we're due to start next week. Things are in preparation. The schools are ready to receive us, so we're ready to go.
Over the past few years, we've definitely seen the advancements when it comes to Lucian Junior Carnival. We're seeing new additions being included on the calendar, such as the soca competition, like you've mentioned. Can you tell me why you thought, it was crucial to include the soca component to Lucian Junior Carnival?
Well, the soca competition is something that we've been discussing for maybe about 2 years now. And we felt that this year we were ready. Soca, St. Lucian music is what has really helped propel our festival. Our Dennery segment has really helped us sell and make St. Lucian Carnival as special and unique as it is. Sets us apart from all the other festivals in the region. So we thought it was important that we introduce our youth, our youngsters, to that element of the competition to ensure that we have that there are persons who can take the competition on for years to come. It's just so that we can develop the art form and to see where we can find the next Rikiti, the next Ezra, the next Nerdy, Imran Nerdy. So it's really about preparing them and for the sustainability of our culture.
You know, as you're talking about that, Madam Chair, it brings me to two of the core areas that CPMC is focusing on when it comes to Carnival, Lucian Carnival, and that is sustainability as well as cultural preservation. Mm-hmm. Can you highlight for us how you see Lucian Junior Carnival fitting into that?
Well, for cultural preservation, it's really one of our core pillars, as you've said. I think it's important that we understand our tradition, why we have this carnival, why is Carnival the biggest cultural festival for us, the uniqueness of it, what makes it ours, the authenticity. It's important that our youth understand that, and the only way that they can understand and appreciate it is if they take part in it, if they're exposed to it. So it is the only way that we can ensure that our culture is preserved and they can have it in the next 20 to 30 years when we've all retired from this. For sustainability, again, ties into cultural preservation. It is the longevity of our culture. How do we get it to remain important to us as a people? And again, only the youth can secure this for us. If the youth do not understand why we do this and why it is important to keep the authenticity of it, then we're not going anywhere. So we thought that it's important to include them, and that is why we separated and brought a whole junior festival, so that there is a space that the children can enjoy themselves in a responsible way and also appreciate our culture.
Nice. That is a good point that you're making. And you know, in speaking about that, and you mentioning school store earlier, I know that within the school store, it is an effort to ensure that not only that you're visiting schools, but you're doing it around the island.
Yes.
Can you tell me, in reference to that, how is CPMC working to ensure that there's equitable participation within the various districts when it comes to Lucian Junior Carnival?
Well, just as you said, we ensure that every school has an opportunity to participate. So we ensure that every school across the island gets an invitation to participate in the school's calypso, soca, and pan, well, festival and competitions in the music segments. So they register if interested, and once all the registration process is completed, we ensure that we have a live audition with judges and auditors, and the top finalists are selected to participate in the competition. With the school's tour, we ensure that we choose, because it's over a 2-week period and we could only do 2 schools per day, we choose 20 schools island-wide. We would contact the schools. Once they're interested and they're ready to accommodate us, we are happy to bring the tour to their school. So we always try to ensure that every single school across the island gets an opportunity to be part of the festival.
Very nice. You are viewing the live press briefing of Lucian Junior Carnival. We're having a conversation with the stakeholders who are involved, giving you the information that you need when it comes to Lucian Junior Carnival. Of course, Madam Chair, we've been talking about preparations for this year, and I like that you mentioned when we spoke about the inclusion of the Soca Festival that you've been thinking about it for 2 years. So it means that when it comes to the growth and the development of Junior Carnival, Lucian Junior Carnival, it's something that's continuous. Can you give us a bit of insight into what CPMC's vision is when it comes to the continuous growth and development of the festival?
The vision of the CPMC is to ensure that every child, every youth knows that there's a place for them in the festival. I think that's our primary objective, and it's part of our objective where we want the whole country, all St. Lucians, to understand that the festival belongs to us. It is our festival, each and every one of us. Once you are St. Lucian, Lucian Carnival and Lucian Junior Carnival belongs to you. So we want to instill that in the youth from a very early age so that they want to participate. They want to know more about their culture. And what we have done is to ensure that we have workshops and so on for them. So tomorrow, those who are participating in the music segment will have a workshop with past and present monarchs and grooming them for the stage. This year also we have another inclusion where we have introduced an all-mass competition for the youth. So, and it is for us to preserve that aspect of our culture. So this is the growth that we have in mind and the vision, and it's to ensure that they understand that everyone should be included and there is something for everyone within the festival.
Very nicely put. Thank you so much for setting the stage for us when it comes to that. And if you've not gotten the opportunity to take in any of the components of Lucian Junior Carnival, this year definitely is your year to do so. I would like to move over and say good morning and have a conversation with Mr. Jason Bastiel Josephs. And Jason, you're here at the moment wearing 2 hats. So you are a representative of the Ministry of Education as well as the court of the music competitions when it comes to Lucian Junior Carnival. And I want to talk about a little bit, start with the ministry's involvement when it comes to Lucian Carnival. The Ministry of Education, as we know, they work with the schools to encourage and facilitate student participation in Junior Carnival events. Can you tell us why you think that is critical or crucial for the ministry?
Well, the ministry definitely supports Carnival and the arts, and generally, I think we believe that everything begins from the school level. I think in society we tend to forget that there is a process involved. I always say one does not just wake up from the bed at 24 and decide to get into the arts. Well, you can't do that, but you will be at a disadvantage. Most people who sing, they have a choir background at school. So it's something that has to begin at the schools. And currently we do have a solid music program. We have some aspect of theater at the schools. Dance, I think, is starting off and so on. So the arts are very important, and we believe that this is where it begins if we want to have a successful, you know, art culture in St. Lucia. As a matter of fact, I think we are suffering the consequences of those of us who are currently adults and we didn't have that background. For example, it's very difficult right now to find people to train the younger people in terms of how to perform, how to sing, because they themselves don't have it. They don't have the experience in the music and the theater and the dance, and they're all very connected. So we're already suffering the consequences. So it's very important that we have a solid arts program at the schools, and Calypso, of course, is just one element.
Very nice. Thank you for highlighting that for us. When it comes to the compositions, Jason, I know that you work very diligently in ensuring that it's coordinated and everything is put in place. But one of the aspects that we tend, I don't know that we miss it, but it's not usually highlighted, is the teacher's involvement when it comes to writing a lot of those songs. We're talking about the development of the craft and ensuring that the students have the various skills that are required. Do we see them moving into passing on the writing aspect of it as well?
Yes, there are quite a number of students, both students and teachers, who are involved in writing their own material for the Calypso competition. I need to mention, however, that the Calypso competition is not a songwriting competition, which means that anybody could write a song from professional to non-professional. We don't necessarily reward somebody for writing their own song.
Right.
But at the same time, we are trying to develop the talent, the writing talent among both teachers and students. We've had several workshops. We continue to have workshops. CDF recently had a workshop for students where songwriting is concerned. However, I am one that believes that you develop a skill not just by attending a workshop, because we all know how it is. You attend a workshop, you leave, case closed, and you don't do anything. It's the practice. That is what makes you skilled in something. So people just simply need to write more songs more regularly, and I think we can develop that among both the students and the teachers.
Nice. And how have you seen the development of this festival over the past few years? We know that you've been involved within the coordinating aspect, and you yourself have had several contributions to our cultural landscape as well. Give us your perspective on the development of that aspect of the competition.
I think we've had quite a lot of positives with the coming on board of CPMC. Well, I should say OFLE, because we've had some assistance in the past from different groups. That has benefited us tremendously. The stress of not having to worry about funding, that's the most important thing. So a lot more can happen in terms of the organization, in terms of making sure everything runs smoothly. On the day, the show itself is a lot better organized than in the past, in my opinion. So I think that definitely helps. There is room for improvement, because my personal objective as curriculum officer for music is to see more schools have their own shows. That is where the development happens. You get more writers and MCs in the schools, and people singing and performing and dancing, and you tend to bring the different areas together, costume making and whatever. So we just need to get more shows happening in the schools so that you have the students practicing their writing skills and so on. And then at the higher level, of course, all schools will want the best material, the best songs, and so on. But that is the only area I think that needs a lot more development at the school level. At the national level, we are quite pleased. I think it has been progressing very nicely. It keeps getting better and better every year. The crowds are getting bigger as well.
Yes, definitely crowd participation is one that we've seen throughout the year. I agree with you, and it really is nice to see the students come out and give their all on that stage. So again, if you've not gotten the opportunity to do that, we're definitely encouraging you to take that in this year for 2025. Jason, when it comes to the release of the finalists, we've seen that publication. Can you highlight for us how many schools are participating this year?
For the Calypso competition, as usual, we have 10 primary schools and 10 secondary schools. And the soca competition, strange enough, we were only able to get 8 primary and 8 secondary. So automatically, all of them just went through to the final competition. It is surprising because a couple schools have been asking for that competition for the longest while, and I was of the impression that it is something that would be more popular with the younger people. They enjoy jumping and waving and so on. Maybe as it's the first year, it might pick up perhaps next year, but we have 8 primary and 8 secondary.
Okay, within the soca competition.
Soca, yes.
And highlight for us in terms of preparation, the activities for preparation. I know that Madam Chair gave us some insight into that. Can you elaborate on that further?
Right, so the actual preparations actually begin tomorrow. We have a workshop, a voice and performance workshop. It's something that we do every year. So in the morning, we are having a workshop with the Calypsonians. The workshop helps them to sing better and to perform better generally. And in the afternoon for the soca participants. And then after that, we have rehearsals that should be starting with the band shortly after.
Nice. Now, give us a little bit of insight as to what exactly we can expect this year.
Actually, I haven't really heard the music because they had auditions on the 2nd of May, I think it was. And during that time, I prefer to leave it to the judges. So I was busy taking photos and organizing and doing other stuff. So it's tomorrow that I actually get to hear the content, what they're actually singing. I listen to the songs, make sure the key is right, give them suggestions to either raise it to make sure that the songs are quality, their performances and everything. So I'll be hearing them closer tomorrow. But as usual, the students have never disappointed. Many people keep saying that they can give the adults a run for their money. So I expect the same thing tomorrow. Following that workshop, I think they'll be ready to hit the stage.
Thank you so much for highlighting that for us, Jason. Also here with us today is Mrs. Barbara Dubuli, who is the Pan Festival Coordinator. And Steel Pan, Barbara, is the Steel Pan music. It's a sample of Lucian Carnival. And we're now seeing Schools Pan Festival being put on for within its second year. Let's give us a bit of a recap of what took place last year.
Okay, good morning.
Good morning to you.
Following a fantastic display of skills and talent last year, we had 7 schools perform, but within the 7 schools, we actually had 7 groups perform, but we actually had 11 schools performing.
Oh, wow.
And of course, the outcome of the festival last year was really, warm. Everybody was really satisfied. I think the players themselves were looking forward. Even from the time they finished playing, they were saying we are going to be playing next year. So this platform really encouraged the players to continue playing. Some of the groups have never stopped. They continue playing throughout because they know, again, this year is come and they wanted to be part of it. So even speaking with the leaders, the band leaders, I think they are ready to put on a really good show this year.
Wonderful. You mentioned 7 groups, but 10 schools. Does that mean that we have a combination somewhere?
Of schools. Last year, what we noticed that some of the schools really wanted to be part of the festival, and because of the insufficient pans at the schools, so we said, okay, how do we get 2 schools or 3 schools to come in? And so what we did was to join the schools together, and that worked very, very well. We had Leon Hess Secondary School perform last year, and they're on board as well this year, even bigger and better. All right, the numbers have increased tremendously. So Iris Simmons Secondary School, we had Patricia James and St. Mary's College, and they worked really, really well together. We had the Soufre Secondary School and the Canris Primary. And that too, it was a little interesting to see how committed these players from the 2 schools. Soufre, Canris, they are not very close. And yet they found time, they found the space to get into each other's space to work together. And that worked very, very well for us. The Labrie Boys and the girls, Labrie Boys and Girls Primary, they are coming together. Along with we have the neighboring schools. So we may get one person from Auger, we may get another student from the neighboring schools joining the boys and the girls schools from Labrie. So we have the Miku, and of course Miku is ever ready. Even last week when we met, they said, Mrs. Dubuli, we come in. So they too are ready. And even with the Miku primary school, these children have never stopped playing. So there's continuation throughout. And Corinth Secondary School. And this year from the 7 groups, we have 1 additional, which is the St. Joseph's Convent. So we have 8 groups, but 12 performing schools.
Wonderful. And that remains the same this year. So you said 8 groups, 12 performing schools, which means that there's an
those
increase.
Yes, there is an increase. One more group has joined us this year.
And to stay and highlight a little bit when it comes to the collaboration that we're seeing, is that something that we intend to develop? Is that an intention behind the Schools Bands Festival?
I think each school would like to go on and perform on their own. But for now, because again I said, because of the insufficient funds at the school. But joining the schools, I think this gives an opportunity for more schools to come on board. You know, they don't look at it, we see music teachers not sitting back and saying, we don't have enough funds, we cannot. They try. And so they collaborate with other schools, and that worked for us. Yes.
And Barbara, finally, I would love for you to highlight for our viewing audience what they can expect. Well, highlight the key components in terms of the highs of the festival that you've not already mentioned, and tell us what we can expect this year and encourage people to really be a part of it.
What we are seeing again, first we have to commend the junior arrangers. So most of the bands have their junior arrangers. And some of them are new, some of them have been working with the bands before. The music teachers, of course, we see the support that they're giving to some of the music teachers. And we have 1 or 2 bands who don't have band players, teachers at the school. But we have volunteers coming from the outside, the senior bands are coming in to support as well. And that is very good. I must say, and the enthusiasm behind it all, it's encouraging. And so the more, if the schools get bands, if the schools are able to get their own, we will of course see an increase. Of course, I'm sure most of the schools would love to be part of the schools festival, band festival. Yeah. While the bands are changing, of course, last year we had fillers, we had our dancers, we had our Moko Jumbies, we had quite a lot of entertainment. That too will be done again this year so that we don't have any lapse in between the changes of the band. Each band is given 30 minutes to perform. They have their own choices of songs. Of course, we've told them a lot of the local songs would be appreciated as well, and I think they're working on that, yeah. So it is going to be an exciting afternoon on the 7th of June with the juniors.
Nice. Yeah. And I know I'm being a little cheeky with this, but my final question for you, we know it's a festival now. Do we see it at any point going into possibly competition?
When we first mentioned, when we went out informing the bands that, of course, we were having a school festival, everybody happy because they said if it was a competition, we would not have gotten that many because some of them thought they had not reached a level for competition as yet. And so they said, fine, we did it. This year is the 2nd year. I think because of the readiness of some of them, by next year, I think they will be ready for competition.
So that's something we can possibly look forward to.
Yes, I think the level, the stages are gradually getting to, competitions,
Wonderful. Thank you so much for highlighting that for us. Again, you are viewing the live press briefing of Lucian Junior Carnival 2025. We wanted to give you a bit of a recap. If you missed it last year, a recap of the 2024 Pan Festival.
Yes, Carnival we outside. Yes, let me tell you, this year we're going everywhere, you know. It's a vibe. Ashokoto, Ashokoto. Ashokoto, 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 Ashokoto. Celebrate, Vini celebrate Carnival, celebrate. This thing right here is our culture. From Kasote, from Gaboule, Anouale, tout pour chanter. Celebrate, look the carnival rich. Si vous comptez un carnaval, somebody give me a signal. Ekpesa, ra. Ra, 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 ra. Tout le monde en place là. Just levez la main comme ça. Et fait ça. Ra, 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 ra. You see the community carnival. Noasa, I got it a rental. Noasa, panorama is vital. Noasa, nous pas comme ça. Awa, I can't miss the Juve. Noasa, all set, yeah we in there. Noasa, when we reach on the road, carnival Monday and Tuesday. From Mongoose combined. Take your time. Take
your time to grow. Give the other life a break. Take your time to grow. Yeah, you're making a mistake. Take your time to grow. Try your best, don't go astray. Take your time to grow. Listen well to what I say. Take it easy. Take it slow. Take your time to grow.
Put one call. Number one. That's a good song. Young DJs. Drop the Irish Secondary School.
Tell them you can't keep me down. Don't try to keep me down. Cause I'm not staying down. No. Show me down 7 times. I get in a bed. Jaja will never put too much on my plate. I may fall 7 times, still getting up straight. Jaja will never put too much on my plate.
Thank you for staying with us and welcome back to the press briefing of Lucian Junior Carnival 2025. We're having a conversation with key stakeholders in the preparation of the festival and giving you the information that you would need to ensure your participation and that of your child in this year's festival. We previously had a conversation with the CPMC chair, Tamara Gibson. We also saw the music coordinator for the Lucian Carnival, Lucian Junior Carnival competition, Jason Bachelor Joseph, and we had a conversation with Miss Barbara Dubele, who is the coordinator of the Still Pan Festival. We're now going to move into Parade Day, Junior Carnival Parade Day, and have a conversation with the chairperson of the Carnival Bands Association, who is Miss Janella Gaston. Also joining us is Miss Chelsea Joseph, who is a band leader of Creative Band, and she's going to set the scene when it comes to band experience for us. Let me say good morning to you, Janella, and good morning to you, Chelsea, as well.
Good morning.
How are you guys doing?
Good.
Okay. Nice. You know, we are getting ready to delve into yet another Lucian Carnival, and for today's specific purpose, we're talking about the Junior Carnival experience, the Lucian Junior Carnival experience, one that is interesting because you want to set a scene of excitement and you usually see it with the children, but safety is also a big component when it comes to that. Generally, safety is a component when it comes to our festival, but we tend to give a little extra care to our little ones to ensure they have a great experience on the road. So Janelle, I'm going to start with you, and I would love for you to highlight for us when it comes to Junior Carnival, what are some of the considerations in addition to safety that goes into preparing for Parade Day?
Well, on Parade Day, of course, all our bands do good preparations with regards to how they have their bands set up, their sections, their kings, their queens, ensure that all the kids are together. We have lots of volunteers who assist the bands. Parents are definitely there. But we ensure together with CPMC that the route is given ahead of time, so everyone is aware of where the route will be going through town and where the stage is and so on. So everybody is informed of what is to be done on that day. And all the members, all the junior bands are well informed also, so preparations can be put into place.
Yes, indeed. One of the things that I absolutely love about the Junior Carnival component is that you see a lot of the costumes on the road. They really, the mass camp experience is still put into there. So we see a lot of the creativity of the participants within that aspect as well. And, you know, we've been talking about sustainability and cultural preservation when it comes to our carnival experience. And that's definitely one aspect I can imagine that highlights that. Would you agree?
Oh, yes, definitely. I love that part of the mass. I love seeing the junior kings and queens, because I feel like if you don't do that, then the children eventually they continue with that love for carnival. So essentially you're a carnival baby because you started as a junior and it's just only natural for you to go into the senior, and then you appreciate the creativity and all of it that comes into carnival and portraying the theme and so on. So I love the junior bands. They take their effort and they create their themes and then produce the costumes, not just the king and queens, but also the different sections that depict what it is that they're portraying.
Indeed. Now, Chelsea, I know that you can lend to that as well as a band leader for Creative Mass. I know that when it comes to preparation for the road, it's a little different for you. From the perspective of a band leader, can you highlight what that is for you?
For me, it is kind of easy because I deal with children, so we have them helping us in the mass camp. So our teenagers are really the ones who put our costumes together for us. So it's kind of easy for my band to come together.
And in terms of thought process, because you're portraying a theme, ensuring that not only you're portraying a theme, but you want to be a step ahead of the competition in a playful manner. But how do you go about doing that in theme selection and ensuring that it's appropriate to the children as well?
Okay, so we come up with about 5 to 10 themes right after. Okay, so after Carnival this year, we'll come up with 5 to 10 themes, and we bring it to our teenagers and ask them which theme you think would stand out to you, which theme you think will work better for us, and then we try to narrow it down to about 2 or 3, and then we start doing sketches for them, and then we know, okay, when we see the sketches, we know, okay, which one would be easier for us to play. Yes.
Nice. So there really is a process behind it.
There is.
Nice. Janella, highlighting when it comes to the participation of the band, what can we see this year in terms of parade of the bands?
This year we have 8 bands. Most of them have launched already. Some of them have costumes prepared, and a few of them have social media sites that they have started advertising on. A few others we're still waiting on. I've been following up with them because it's a little bit of a process for them. So 8 bands, I can tell you what they are. We have R&E Junior. They'll be portraying a world of shapes and colors. We have Nuive. Their portrayal is Spirit of Carnival, a tribute to Joan Hinkson. Ecstatic Carnival, Born Wild. Just as Kids, Belle Collet, Tapestry of a Revived Tradition. We have Happy Feet, Powdered Dream, Creative Mass, Tropical Explosion, Harmony Carnival, Celebrate, a Lucian Fete. In Sommeil, the Enchanted Forest. So they're ready. Just have to now sort out costumes and get registration.
Do we have an idea so far in terms of projections? Because we know that the registration process is still ongoing. But in terms of projections of the number of students, or children rather, that we would like to see participating when it comes to Parade of the Bands this year, what does that look like?
On average, a band tends to have 60 to maybe 240. So in that, estimate about 900 kids on the road, 900
Nice.
juniors.
Oh, nice. And in terms of ensuring participation of the students, question for both of you, is there any thrust towards ensuring that, well, not ensuring, but going to the schools to seek participation?
Yes. Many bands in their own capacities, they do go to the schools. They put proposals to us. After exams, some of them will visit the schools to try to encourage the children to want to join and register to parade on the road. I know CPMC is also doing their school tour, which we're very excited about because it'll also give us an opportunity to market to these schools, to the kids. And the bands in the private capacities are doing different activities to inform the public of registration and what they're portraying so that they themselves can encourage people to join.
Yes. And Chelsea, from your perspective of a band leader, what strategy or strategies do you usually implement to ensure participation within your band?
Okay, so we try to get in contact with teachers in the different schools, get one teacher from each school to promote the band for us to see if we can get students from their school, and obviously the dance group, we get revelers from there.
Nice. And I love that we're seeing the linkages throughout this conversation. You see where the linkages and the participation is. Final question for the two of you. In terms of preparation for the road, I know that you're doing your own preparation, but it's also important that the parents of the participants know what should and should not be done for the day. So if there's anything, one message that you would ensure that the parents are aware of when it comes to parade day and ensuring that they've equipped their children with, what would that be? Starting with you, Janella. And it could be anything from safety down the line.
Well, parents are always they're very much present You know, they don't just drop their kids and go. They're very much present. They actually do give the kids space. They're always on the sidelines, and they allow the kids to, you know, enjoy the carnival themselves. For me personally, I would always say they need to be present, because no one's better to deal with their kid than themselves, and then you also just follow along with the rules and regulations of each band, because all bands do inform their parents what they need to do, and they're very explicit in what goes on. So they just need to work with the bands on staying within their guidelines.
Wonderful. What about you, Chelsea?
I think it's the same for me. We've never really had an issue when it comes to parents and asking them to follow the rules for on the day. So I think it's basically what she said. They give their children the space, they stay on the sidelines, they're very much involved. We don't really have to look for extra hands, because it's what can I do, what can I do, what can I help with?
Very much so.
It's okay.
So we're not only just seeing the participation of the children, but the parents.
Yeah, the
definitely
parents'
get
involvement
involved.
is
Parents are very active.
Yes.
Like when it comes to distributing the meals and
Yes.
snacks and stuff, they're very much on board.
Nice. And highlight for us finally the date for Parade Day this year.
It's July 13th, 2025.
Nice. So on July 13th, 2025, definitely not to miss Lucian Junior Parade of the bands. We are going to take in a bit of a highlight of last year's festivities, and we'll be right back.
1, 2, 3, hi-yo! No other one but you. I wanna be with you for the carnival, for the festival. Let me start the bacchanal. 'Cause beautiful is what you are. In your costume, beautiful is how you make me feel.
Hi, my name is Shanice Butcher. I am your 2023 National Carnival Queen, and I am here to share some words of inspiration with you guys.
On the road, 'cause the two are we together is an explosion. We jumping on the road with plenty emotion. You ready? Alright, so jump up with your friends. Whenever we stand, roll it up, make it beautiful. It's a beautiful life. Put your hand up in the air. Put your hand up in the air. I say put it up, make it beautiful, make it beautiful. 'Cause it's a beautiful life. There's a bad girl in the ring. Jump up and do your thing. Excitement, she have excitement. Pushing that bumper back, make him and them wine on that. Excitement, look excitement. All in the street, wine on every girl we be. Excitement, look excitement. Every woman on the road. So let we jumping on the road with plenty emotion. You ready? Alright, so jump up with your friends and jump up with your crew. You can jump up anyhow you want, I jump in with you. Just take out something and fling it. Take out something and fling it up. Whenever we stand, roll it. Whenever we stand, roll it up. Make it beautiful. Make it beautiful. 'Cause it's a beautiful life. Put your hand up in the air. Put your hand up in the air. I say put it up. Make it beautiful. Make it beautiful. 'Cause it's a beautiful life. I wanna be with you on the road. With you by the truck. With you jumping.
Marvelous campaign on your victory at the primary school calypso competition, and we hope to see you back in 2025. God willing, to retain your title.
You can jump up anyhow you want, I jump in with you. Just take out something and fling it. Take out something and fling it up. Whenever we stand, roll it. Whenever we stand, roll it up. Make it beautiful. Make it beautiful. 'Cause it's a beautiful life. Put your hand up in the air. Put your hand up in the air. I say put it up. Make it beautiful. Make it beautiful. 'Cause it's a beautiful life. I say no other one but you. I wanna be beautiful.
Once again, thank you so much for staying with us. It is the live press briefing for Lucian Junior Carnival 2025. We've seen the commencement of Lucian Carnival, and to give us the perspective of the Ministry of Tourism, Investment, Creative Industries, Culture and Information, we have joining us Honorable Dr. Ernest Hilaire. Dr. Hilaire, thank you so much for being here with us and taking some time to have this conversation with us. How are you doing today?
Me? I'm good. Somebody asked me whether I had recovered from jazz. And I said, we don't have time to recover. We just move from one to the next. So imagine last Sunday we ended jazz and we're going full steam into Carnival already. But it's glad to know that a lot of the stakeholders, the bands, the Calypsonians, soca artists have been preparing. So it's a smooth transition. And in a sense, I'm just waiting for it to unfold. Our role in the ministry is really to provide the policy direction and what is the government's position on Carnival in this particular instance, and to provide that guidance to CPMC. Although in my case, I think I'm a little more interfering. I actually get a little more involved than just saying what it is government expects, because it's Carnival and it is St. Lucian, and nothing sweeter than that.
I'm happy to hear you say that, Mr. Minister, because, you know, we've seen the official launch of Lucian Carnival, where we saw a great rendition from our current queen, Lucian. I know that is one that you enjoyed. And somebody told me that you're actually going to give us a rendition of your own this year.
I'm sure we don't want any hurricanes or anything like that. So,
yeah, all right, so we shall definitely leave that alone. But in terms of setting the scene for Lucian Carnival and how you're feeling about it so far, the main festival, in addition to as we prepare for Lucian Junior Carnival, give us your insight.
Well, I think I'm really excited about this year, and from all projections, it will probably be our biggest yet. I mean, just in terms of the share growth. Before we even start way in advance, I usually sit with Tammy and I ask her basically what we're going to do different this year. How are we going to grow? Because you cannot remain static. For you to stay relevant, for you to stay on focus, and of course you have your long-term goals. Each year you must ask yourself, how can you be better than last year? Right. And what new will you be doing? What new will you add to make sure that the vibe is there? Make sure that you are growing and you are better than you were in the last year. And I think Tammy would have mentioned to you when she spoke earlier about some of the what has happened over the years. The school tour, for example, is a really, really exciting and something which is necessary if we speak about sustainability and if we speak about cultural preservation. And even responsible behavior, which I think we need to really highlight as one of the 4 pillars. And this year, the introduction of the soca to the schools is also very exciting. We want to be able to give the junior bands more support in terms of more cash and also more logistical support. So Tammy and I are discussing how we can do that to give them the support. And we do so because the Junior Carnival is really the foundation for what we have. And if you cannot ensure that the foundation is secure, you really have, challenges later on. And Jason made the point about if there is one deficiency we still need to focus heavily on, is how we can get as many schools as possible to have their own shows, their own activities, to broaden the base. Because the broader your base, the better the quality that will come out. So from the Junior Carnival perspective, I think this year will be, we want to be, as government, as CPMC, more supportive, to give more cash. We want to introduce the soca competition, help the PAN grow. And I listened to, Barbara, about the PAN festival, whatnot, and I was whispering to Parliamentary Secretary, and she spoke about the number of PANs that are available, and it's really true. But the sheer cost of putting together a PAN side, and one of the schools, just on the side, had asked me, can I donate a PAN, to this? I said, yeah, just take 2, I'll pay for it. And when they sent me the bill, I was like, because I didn't realize how expensive it is to have a chrome PAN, and it really costs a lot. So we now need to think about how it is we can probably provide for next year more support to some of the schools to make sure they do have the pans at the school. So for example, Parliamentary Secretary was speaking about the Viewfort Comprehensive School, for example, such a large school, and they're not part of it. We must make sure they're part of it for next year. By next year, the Marsha Panyard will be open. It's already built, and the Prime Minister very sure will open it. And even in Bannan, I'm hoping to build one myself.
Oh, nice.
Next to the Bannan playing field. And if we can do some of that all over the country and close enough to schools, so you start providing even more support for the junior pan to grow. So this year is going to be exciting for the juniors. I have actually looked at the juniors over the last 2 years, and I think it's even more enjoyable than the adults. It's more authentic, it's more, it has more sincerity in it, in a sense. The kids come out to enjoy themselves. Carnival is about celebrating life. We celebrate who we are as a people, and we celebrate life. And you cannot get a better expression of that than watching the juniors. And I think that will be exciting. On the adult side, from speaking to the different Carnival bands, they all saying to me, look, this is going to be epic, so we're going to look forward to it. The music, from what I'm hearing, is also going to be really exciting. We've heard some of it. I haven't heard many of the calypsos. I know I'll get my usual picong, but we're going to look forward to an exciting calypso season starting this weekend.
Indeed. Mr. Minister, we've been seeing the injections when it comes to Lucian Junior Carnival, the improvements that are being made and the investments to support those improvements as well. How does that lend or feed into the broader strategy for the development of the festival on a whole?
Well, I think Tammy always speaks of the 4 pillars, and I made a point earlier that the juniors is really the foundation of that.
Right.
So when you speak of let's take inclusivity, because that's a statement of inclusivity. We're involving all the ages.
Right.
But when you start speaking about sustainability, the earlier our people can appreciate what Carnival is all about, they can start appreciating the need for us to ensure that it continues to live on, and that we create the space, the cultural, creative space for for Carnival to live on. You have to start with the juniors. That's where you get the continuity. They really, the juniors are like the factory. You're producing persons that will carry on the legacy of Carnival. And you speak about cultural preservation. If you look at the adult Carnival, it's more than just cultural now. It's also economic. It's a business. And in all of that, the authenticity of the cultural expression diminishes, because there are people involved in it, not for cultural preservation. They need because it's a business. They need because it's about, other dynamics. With the juniors, it's not so much about a business. You have to pay regard to the persons who have continued with the junior Carnival, because there is no big, economic or culture or business benefit to them. It takes a lot of hard work, and they need the support. So from the cultural preservation, the best expression of cultural preservation has to be with the juniors. The celebration of life, the celebration of who we are, in a very uncompromising way. They will make that story for us. So that is critical for us. And responsible behavior. A couple of years ago, the CPMC started an initiative of encouraging persons to drink less alcohol, drink less sugary drinks, for obvious healthier lifestyle issues. And we need to continue to do that. We need to have more water stops. We need to say to our revelers, drink more water, drink less alcohol, drink less of those sugary drinks, more diet drinks, whatnot. But also to how they conduct themselves on the road. And something that the church has raised with me on a couple of occasions, that we too have to promote. On the road, being vulgar, being outrageous doesn't necessarily mean you're enjoying yourself. And Carnival is not about that. And the juniors, we have to start teaching them that Carnival is not about misbehaving on the road. It's not about getting drunk and boasting of how drunk you were, during Carnival. That's not what it is about. It's about enjoying yourself. It's about celebrating life. And I think the starting point for that is the juniors, for us to teach them from very early those fundamental principles that will serve well for the future. Of course, when they get older, they can do whatever they want in a sense. But the point is, you start instilling in them an understanding of what they're participating in. What they're participating in is not an exercise of, licentious, and you just do what you want, behave how you want. It's a celebration of life. It's about an expression of creativity, and to teach that to them. And your question is absolutely right. The Junior Carnival is the basis that we can teach those sustainable pillars.
Wonderful. You know, Mr. Minister, one of the areas that you touched on there is that of continuity. And a fun fact, and one that really shows, is a testament to the development and continuity of the festival. Starting within Lucian Junior Carnival, the winner of last year from Montgouge now is at V4 Compre and is in the competition. So we're seeing that being carried on throughout the schools, and hopefully we can see it filtering into the national product, the adult national product as well. You know, when it comes to our carnival experience, we know that there is usually, it goes hand in hand with our tourism product, given the injection of the number of visitors that comes onto our islands for that. Can we at any point see the development of a youth-focused cultural tourism product within the Lucian Carnival experience?
Well, I'm not sure we've really looked at that angle of it. Of course, you're talking about minors, so you have your limitations, what you can do with minors. And of course, we have to recognize anything we do with minors, you have to have parental approvals and whatnot. But, you know, most of the visitors who do come for Carnival, they're more interested in the adults. You know, they want to participate, they want to see color, they want to see all the, you know, all that goes with the adult carnival. Maybe in a sense the junior really is about us and it's more developmental. I don't see it as a tourism product per se. I think I see it as a developmental stage. But I mean, I'm always open to somebody showing me a different perspective.
Indeed. And speaking of the developmental aspect and the development stage, how is the ministry supporting the professional development of young creatives emerging from junior carnivals, such as costume designers, we have the performers, we have the musicians, and again, we know we've been seeing the investment in various areas. Highlight for us how we're seeing the professional development being supported.
Well, a lot of that would happen through other associated agencies that fall under the ministry, like the CDF, for example. They would organize a number of workshops. In the case of the Ministry of Education, Jason would have spoken about the workshop that takes place tomorrow, and they would facilitate that kind of, you know, evolution of the creative from a junior into a senior. And, you know, Tammy would speak of some of the work they do as CPMC. There's a lot more we can do. Example, you know, a couple years ago we introduced in the senior Calypso, where the songwriters got rewarded, you know, for songs they had in the finals, which is really to reward them for their hard work, but also to encourage more lyricists, more persons who are songwriters. I think we can start seeing how we can do, although they've had it, workshops for songwriters to teach them creative writing. And maybe we can start rewarding students who write songs that are in the finals. So we not say, okay, some adults do write, teachers write, but where we have students who wrote songs that are in the finals, maybe we can reward them, to say to them, there's an avenue there where you can get rewarded. But we should do a lot more training, and Jason made a good point. It's one thing to train and have the workshop, but it's the actual practical that really develops the skill. And we probably should do more of that, you know, to make sure we get younger writers. We really need more songwriters in St. Lucia. I mean, if you just look at the finals, who wrote the calypsos that made it to the finals, who writes the soca's that made it, you can see we need a broader band of writers. Maybe the best emerges in any case, but the point is we need to encourage, and therefore we need to have more training, more workshops, because some people are gifted, they can just sit and just pen songs. Some people still have to take their rhyming dictionary next to them when they write, and some people need to put a little more effort into it, but we need to put more training into that. The performances, how do you improve your performance? Singing, a lot of our singers are not trained, they have not gone to school to learn vocalization and all those things. How can we do that for the juniors to make sure that they evolve? And how do you become a better professional? Because if you leave school, you become in the adult soca scene. You might want to sing in overseas. You might want to sing at the hotels. How do you become a professional? And even like say the Youth Economy Agency, for example, where we make monies available to young people. But then, yes, who's training? Who's creating? And that's our responsibility in a sense. The costume building, I was really looking forward this year. We had discussions with the Taiwanese, and they were going to send some of their experts over to help us with some of the costume designing. Because when you see, for our King and Queen of the Bands, for example, we're quite good at it. But when you look at some of the sizes of the costumes they have, like in Taiwan, and the technology they use and the design techniques, I think we can learn a bit from them. They really do some fantastic work on the use of technology and engineering. I think we can benefit from that. And they were going to come here. They couldn't make it for this carnival, and they probably proposed in the end of the year to do some workshops with our costume designers to show them some of the new materials that are used, the new engineering, the new techniques to help us, to improve our costume building. And I think the more we support, the more we give the training, the exposure, the better our people will become.
Nice, and I would like to give you, Mr. Minister, finally, an opportunity to share final thoughts as we delve into not just Lucian Carnival, but especially the Lucian Junior Carnival component as well.
Well, I think I'm looking forward to the 8 bands and what they would put on the road, and to see the young people just enjoy themselves. We must always remember the pillars. We are guided by the pillars. It must be inclusive. We must make sure we try to include as many young people as possible. The tours really helps. It involves students who will never be part of a band, but still wants to feel that they're part of the celebration that Carnival is. We should make sure that we include as many young people as possible. It's important, the sustainability part, that we explain to them what Carnival is about, and that leads to the responsible behavior. Carnival is not a time for bad behavior and for any wrongful conduct. It's not about that. And to explain to the young people what this is all about. And of course, for us to just make sure we have an exciting, safe, and secure, Carnival season. And certainly in the case of the young people, for it to really be what it is, an expression of our cultural identity and who we are as a people.
Thank you so much, Dr. Haley, for highlighting that for us. I just heard from the Minister for Tourism, Investment, Creative Industries, Culture and Information as we wrap up our press briefing for Lucian Junior Carnival 2025. Today you also heard from Ms. Samara Gibson, who's the chair of the Carnival Planning and Management Committee, Mr. Jason Joseph, who's the coordinator of the National Schools Calypso Competition, Mrs. Barbara Dubele, who is the coordinator of the Schools Panorama Festival, and Nella Gastor, chairperson of the Carnival Bands Association, as well as Chelsea Joseph, who is a band leader for Creative Mass, giving us all the information that we require when it comes to Lucian Carnival. If you do want to stay informed as to the dates for the various competitions and for all the other information that you require, be sure to stay tuned to the Junior Carnival events. You could head over to www.carnivalstlucia.com or follow Junior Carnival, that's JR Carnival St. Lucia on Facebook and Instagram. Until next time, I'm Wilma DeMark. Thank you for joining us.